Welcome to another video of the Alalibo Academy. In this video, we're looking at colonization attempts really gone wrong. We are talking about how Ethiopia, the country in East Africa, the second largest country currently on the continent, but back then, perhaps not, defeated Italians. The Italians were coming to colonize. As a matter of fact, they were coming to annex Ethiopia. They were coming to annex Ethiopia. And they thought it would be a cakewalk. They thought it was going to be very easy. They were just going to come, and the Ethiopians were just going to lie down for them, and they, take their country. But they were surprised. They did not know what was waiting for them in Ethiopia, right? So Ethiopia is right here, and Italy is right here, right? And the Italians really wanted to come and annex a country that was 4,500 kilometers away from Italy and 2,800 miles away from Italy, right? Kilometers or miles away from Italy. They were coming to annex a country. Now, they were already in Somalia and Eritrea, and they were expanding their kingdom. They were expanding their colony. Now, this was the Italian Empire. And like other European countries like Britain and France, all of them that had colonies in Africa, well, Italy wanted to expand as well. And so they looked to Ethiopia to expand and to annex, right? So let's put that here. They wanted to annex this country, right? Annex this country. Now, other countries like France and Britain, they colonize for several decades and they leave, right? They leave. They make a mess and they leave. But Italy had different ideas. They wanted to stay in Ethiopia, and they wanted Ethiopia to be part of Italy, right? An extension of Italy. And they did not know what was waiting for them, because the Ethiopian king at the time, Menelik was his name, Menelik II, had other ideas. And he waited for the Italians to come, and his army ambushed, this is very important, ambushed the Italians and killed 3,000 Italian soldiers in the First Italo-Ethiopian War that happened in 1895 to 1896. It took just 1 year for the Ethiopians to finish the Italians. They killed 3,000 Italian soldiers. This is the largest, right? By far, even today, this is the largest casualty suffered by European power trying to colonize Africa. This is really an example of colonization attempt gone wrong. A perfect example. And also a perfect example of how, if Africans come together, they can really advance and defeat any colonial interest. This was known as the Battle of Adowa, right? And Adowa is in the region of Tigray, right? So Tigray, region of Tigray in Ethiopia today, and the battle occurred really not in Adowa, but in a town, in a location close to Adowa. So it's just known as the Battle of Adowa. And that was where the Italians were defeated. Massive defeat, massive disappointment, massive embarrassment, to the point it was so significant the government in Italy at the time, the government of Francisco Crispi, collapsed. Upon hearing the news that his army has been defeated, well, his government collapsed. Simply collapsed, right? And the king of Ethiopia, Menelik, knew what he was doing. And he marshaled his men and waited for the Italians with all of the sophisticated weapons they had, the Italians that is, all of the sophisticated weapons they had were not sufficient to overcome the Ethiopians, the intelligent, smart, and hardworking Ethiopians. They stood their ground and defended their country. They were not to be colonized. They told the Italians, you cannot colonize us. We own the land. You had no right to come and colonize us. Go back to Italy. And the Italians had this mantra, and this is very interesting. They had this mantra of glory, God, and gold. Right? Of glory, God, and gold. GGG, triple G. Right? They wanted to take the glory. They wanted to come and shine. And of course, they wanted God to bless their activities, their invasion, and they were looking for the gold. But guess what? The Ethiopians ended up with the glory, the gold, and God on their side. And this is how Ethiopia defeated the mighty Italians. This is how Ethiopia, an African country, that supposedly didn't have the military weapons, didn't have the military knowledge, the wherewithal, wasn't known as this military power at that time, were able to defeat the mighty Italians in the Battle of Adowa. And a perfect example of colonization gone wrong. A perfect example of how, if Africans come together and are united, they can defeat any colonial interest. They can actually advance the continent. It can be the greatest continent with all of the natural resources in there today. That's why China and the US and the European Union and other countries, Brazil and big countries, are interested in this continent. So if Africans can really come together, they can do great things. And Ethiopia has shown the way that they could defeat an Italian army, an European army, with all of its sophistication in their own land, ambushing them, killing 3,000 Italians, and embarrassing the Italians and sending them back home without any victory and claiming victory themselves. So this is how Ethiopia defeated an European army, the Italians, in the Battle of Adowa, fought in the region of Tigray in Ethiopia. And Ethiopia maintained its independence and was not to be colonized, and sent a message to the imperialists and the colonizers that not in Ethiopia. The glory, God, and gold was not to be on the side of Italians, was to be on the side of Ethiopians. So this is what is known as the colonization attempt gone wrong, how Ethiopia defeated the mighty Italians in the Battle of Adowa in the year 1895 to 1896. Just 1 year it took for them to finish the Italian army.